Testing, audio testing. Testing, audio testing. Hello, and welcome to the live stream that I will be running tonight. Obviously, I am going to need everyone's input on audio because that's one of the things that is never fun to deal with. But yeah, welcome to the live stream tonight. This is the... let's see if I can do something over here with that. It is a Level Up live... I don't know, that's a big red live blinking button. The reason I'm doing a live stream today is because I was trying all day. Audio's kind of low. How about that? Pizza Alchemist and Nobihaza, welcome to the chat. Pizza Alchemist, is the audio better now? I did just have to adjust some settings. I had to... been trying to mess around with the audio settings because there was a big storm outside earlier, and yeah, it was really loud. But yeah, anyway, I was trying to record a video all day today, and I was just not having the motivation to go through with it. I think I started recording around 2 or 3 different videos. And yeah, every time I'd get like 10-15 minutes into recording, I just, for some reason, lost the motivation to continue on. And I do know I release a video every weekend, so I figured I'd make it up to you guys just by doing a bit of live stream. And also I'm launching my Discord server as well, so let me drag that across. Streamer mode enabled. I think that should be fine. But there we go, I have streamer mode enabled, but this is the new Level Up Design Discord, which is launching. I was going to wait till 1,000 subs, but I decided instead I would launch it tonight as a sorry for not uploading a video today. Yeah, other than that, the link is in the description if you guys wanted to watch it, so I'll just bring that back over here. So what am I going to be doing on today's stream? I've come up with like a small idea for a game, and I'm just trying to concept it out. So if you guys have any questions about RPG Maker or games design in general, feel free to ask me about it, and I'll see how I can go about answering it. And if anyone has any questions about what I'm designing today, then feel free to ask that. But basically, I've got this idea for a game, and it's a Lost in Translation game. So essentially, these two people, I'd say they're transported to another world. I don't know, is it going to be another world? I'm not too sure, but the idea is that they don't speak each other's languages, they have different cultures, and they just have to navigate through the world together. So in terms of like if there was a quest or something that required flowers, maybe they could learn each other's languages that way. So this guy would say Flora, and she would say, I don't know, something like Patel. But outside of that, yeah, it's just a vague idea I have in my head. There's nothing solid, concrete yet. Haven't even come up with the character designs. So that's essentially what I'm doing now, is just trying to design the characters for this game. I want it to be pretty basic, you know, use basic shapes. I don't want it to be too detailed. I want the symbology of the shapes that I use to really tell the story, as opposed to just having the, you know, details sort of wow people. But anyway, it's, what day is it where everyone is? It's probably Sunday where everyone is. Because I know a lot of my viewers do come from the US. So How is everyone's Sunday? How was your week? Did you have a good week? Let's just see if I can... I'll turn on the grid. Because I want to see how it looks if I make it all pixelated. So as I was saying, I want the symbology to ring through. So I want this guy to be all circles and this girl to be all triangles. Weekends are like mini Christmas every week. Yeah, they are, because you eat lots of fatty food that you know you shouldn't be eating and then feel horrible about it Monday morning. You also get way too drunk on weekends. I wish weekends were really like a mini Christmas so I could have a roast turkey for dinner every night. Well, not every night, but on weekends. You know what I mean. I didn't mean every night. I'm not that carnivorous. How's everyone's game making going? I know that people aren't following the channel just to listen to the lovely sound of my voice. You're all working on some games. See, this circle, that's looking more like a female than a male. So I think we're going to go with design-wise. I'm going to go with the circle being the female. I'm going to change that up on the fly. As I said, I'm in the very entry stages of my design, so... Why is this not working? I've selected the layer. Control T, Shift down. Raw LZ, welcome to the chat. You've been following my parallax mapping tutorials. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of using parallax mapping with pretty much everything to do with mapping. So I'm glad you like the videos. I do have more parallax videos on the way. I was going to record one today, but again, it was... I just kept losing motivation throughout the day. Pizza Alchemist, yeah, game making is a very slow process. Yes, it is very, very slow. But one thing that's important to remember is if you just do one thing every day, like every day you log on to your RPG Maker and you do one thing, then that you've taken one meaningful action towards completing your game. And if you do that for a week, you've taken 7 meaningful actions. And if you do that every day for a year, all you have to do is work on it for 20 minutes. But if you do that for 1 year, you've taken 365 meaningful actions in regards to completing your game. Wondering if you should finish writing the story first. You don't have to finish writing the story. I would say it's a good idea to know how it ends, because storytelling, you're going to get a much better story if you sort of allude to things. If things are happening in the background that you know happens at the very end of the game. So I'd say at least know how it ends, but you don't have to finish writing it. Don't mind the sound of the glass. That's me just drinking some water. That will happen occasionally. Stay hydrated, everyone. Hydration is good. I think I should probably circle that a bit. Parallax feels like a level up in RPG Maker. Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I love using parallax maps because one of the problems you can find is that you can make really good games using just the tile system. But what I find is a lot of people, they will only use the default tiles. And if you don't do any sort of parallaxing with it and you just leave it as the default tiles, a lot of the games start looking the same. And that can put a lot of people off. Now, it's great if you're a hobbyist and you're wanting to just sit there and make games for the fun of it and you want people to enjoy your game. But in terms of like creating a game for the wider public, it's not necessarily... It's not really going to appeal to the wider public if you use default assets. So that's why I love parallax mapping. Even if you just... I don't know, edit the default assets, but if you use parallax mapping and get rid of the grid movement, so you're not just locked into putting things on a grid, then already that's, yeah, like a level up. Hi Mohammed, how are you? 1+ sub, thank you. I'm just here trying to help everyone achieve their dreams with game design, because we all have a story to tell. That's why we want to make games. No one's making games to become rich and famous. Oh, look, maybe to become famous, but like no one's making games just for the money. It's because there's a story to tell. They want people to play an experience designed by them. So that's what it's all about. Completed and released any game? Unfortunately, the only game I've completed, like all the way through, was a game I'd made for my sister many years ago. I've worked on a bunch of different products. Oh, not products. I've worked on a bunch of different projects. But what tends to happen within the RPG Maker community is a lot of people start a project, but work on those projects go very slow. And I think I've worked on 2 projects, but I've had to pull myself out of those projects just because, you know, development time for a game should only be about a year or 2 for a team. And, you know, working any longer than that on a project, especially if you haven't even half completed it, it just sucks up so much energy. So at the moment, I'm just going solo. I'm not trying to work in any teams at the moment, and I want to make my own games that have meaning to it. So this little game design I'm making now, as I said earlier on in the stream, I want to just use basic symbology that these two are stuck in a situation together and they can't communicate with each other. So it's about how they learn to grow and communicate with each other. I'm just trying to think, because I've worked on a lot of games. What times are games I like creating? I like creating games with story. So bless you. Sorry, that was my puppy sneezing in the background there. Yeah, no, I like storytelling and symbology and just... Like, that's the sort of games I like creating. Although, don't get me wrong, I do want to create a tactical game at some point. I do have this, like, that's one of my dream games, is like a tactical game. Like Final Fantasy Tactics. But like multiplayer. How cool would that be? Like a multiplayer Final Fantasy Tactics. Like a phone app where you just log on and there's territory wars and stuff like that. What are some of my favorite RPGs? Actually, right now, I'm in the middle of playing Trails of Cold Steel 4. I got it the other day, and I think, God, I was up late last night playing that as well. But no, Trails of Cold Steel, that's definitely a favorite of mine. It has a lot of pacing issues as a game, but there's just something about the game and the story that, I don't know, I really love it. Other than that, Final Fantasy VII. That's a stock standard answer, but no, Final Fantasy VII is one of my all-time favorite games. If you ask me if I was a fan of the remake, I'd have to say yes and no. Just because, again, like, I like storytelling, and that's what I think Final Fantasy VII, the original, did great. But the remake has some hella bad pacing issues. Like, really bad pacing issues. Yeah, I've always been good at writing stories and designing characters. Never been good at actually drawing the characters that I design. Because this girl is pretty strange looking. But I am trying to use that whole circle symbology with her, so... An example of pacing issue, in terms of Final Fantasy VII Remake, one of the things I didn't like was that it treated every section of Midgar as a hub world. So you did your first bombing mission. Let me see if I can demonstrate it over here. Is that... Yeah, so you did your first bombing mission where you blew up the Midgar reactor, and then you're in Sector 7. And then in Sector 7, the story sort of stalled. You went around doing a bunch of side quests, which weren't completely necessary, and even if you didn't do all of the unnecessary side quests, there was still like a couple of side quests you had to do. Like you had to go into the garbage dump and fight the monsters and... you know, get your name around the town because you're now a mercenary for hire. You had to go around and replace all of the water filters. And that just isn't the sort of pacing I'd expect from you've just blown up a reactor, the authorities are looking for you, now you're replacing water filters in Sector 7. In the original game, they had a lot of... It was really fast-paced. So I think the original Midgar section was about 3 hours if you played it properly. And that was the entirety of Midgar. Now, when you did the bombing mission, you came back to Sector 7, and then in the morning you prepared to go out for the next bombing mission. It was all like time sensitive. So, you know, not to give spoilers, but when a character gets kidnapped later on in Final Fantasy VII Remake, they still allow for you to go around and do side quests. And it's just like, well, you know, the character's being kidnapped. You shouldn't be running around doing side quests. You should be like racing to save this character. So yeah, you had the Sector 7, that was like a hub world. And then you had, what was it? Is it Sector 8 where Aerith is? Yeah, that was like, you know, run around doing side quests. You had that as a hub world as well. And then you had Wall Street, which also acted as a hub world, which was, it broke up the main flow of the game. And yeah, I just think that was the big pacing issue with Final Fantasy VII Remake, is just, yeah, it breaks up the flow of the game. Hello, RPG Maker fan. Don't be sorry for being late. This was a very impromptu stream. It's my apology for not uploading a video today, because I know I upload a video every weekend and I didn't get around to it. I didn't have the motivation to record and edit today. I don't know what was wrong with me. Like, I sat at the computer for hours just thinking, like, oh, I've got to record and edit. But yeah, anyway, Pizza, that's what I think Final Fantasy VII just lacks. It's just really off with its pacing. It's my personal opinion, of course. Everyone's going to have their own opinions. I think the character, like the way they expanded Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge's characters was amazing. I think the visuals were amazing as well. There are elements of that game they've done really well, but you know, to stretch that 3-hour section of Final Fantasy VII Remake, to stretch it out to like 20 hours, a lot of it was padding. They'd padded out the game. I mean, there's a side quest, yeah, where you have to find a girl's cats. It got to the end of the game where, like, I didn't want to do any of the side quests. I just wanted to go do the main story because the way the pacing of that story is set up is it should be fast. Now, I love side quests, but I don't want to be prompted to do side quests when time is of the essence. The topic of this conversation were just some of my favorite RPGs. And I was talking about Final Fantasy VII, and I was complaining about the remake. I loved the game. Definitely. Hello, Kaizaki. Hello from Brazil. Welcome to the stream. Alright. Now I need a character. Yeah, essentially, like, as I said, like, I love side quests, but if you're in a pivotal point in the story, I don't want to be prompted to do side quests. I want to go save the damsel in distress, or, you know, that sort of stuff. I just think the flow of the game and the pacing are really important in RPGs. Yeah, Final Fantasy IX was a great one as well, RPG Maker fan. RPG Maker 9 was, not RPG Maker 9. Final Fantasy 9 was one of my favorites for such a long time. Actually, when I was about 13 years old, and I still had to earn some pocket money, we had a Final Fantasy 9, but I think my brother took it, and he'd moved out, and I wanted another copy. So I remember I had to save my pocket money for like a month, 2 months, I think. Yeah, I had to save my pocket money for 2 months just so my mum would buy me another copy of Final Fantasy IX. Because I was a big fan of the card game. I loved the card games in the Final Fantasies. Again, I love the side content. I love those card games. Now I need to name this character because, again, like, I've only just started this concept, so I'll leave her name off the list for now, and we'll just work on Triangle Man. What about everyone in chat? What is everyone? Ugh. I lost the ability to speak. What is everybody else's favorite RPG games? Hello, Skepsis D. Welcome to the stream. You're not sure Final Fantasy VII Remake is something you want to play? Yeah, no, I totally understand that, man. It is so different, like, and I'm not going to give away spoilers as well, but the way Final Fantasy VII Remake ended, I don't know whether it's a good or a bad game. So I'm going to have to wait till the next episode comes out to decide whether it's a good or a bad game. Well, not a bad game, but it's just... Again, I can't give spoilers. It's weird the way they've done this. I can't even talk about this game without the risk of giving spoilers, so I won't do it. Yeah, and it really sucks because Final Fantasy VII was the first Final Fantasy game that I played when I could read. Because I remember when I was a kid, because I have lots of brothers and sisters. Well, I have one brother and lots of sisters. But Final Fantasy was big in our household. And I remember watching, like, my sisters were reading to me the Final Fantasy games as they were playing it. Mum would yell at them if they wouldn't read what the characters were saying. So yeah, they were reading to me. So Final Fantasy's been a big part of my life. And yeah, it was just a bit of a disappointment. I mean, there are some parts of Final Fantasy VII Remake, as I said, that I love, but there's a lot that, you know, as something that shaped my entire life, you know, a game that is literally the thing that brought me into gaming, I feel a bit let down by it. Chrono Trigger, that is definitely an awesome game. I loved Chrono Trigger as a kid. God, what is the frog character? He was my favorite character as a kid, the Frog Knight. Star Ocean, yep, I love Star Ocean as well. Star Ocean is like really cool because it takes like the fantasy element of it all and makes it into sci-fi. Hello, Black Cat Art. How are you? RPG Maker fan. Maybe I should play Chrono Trigger. Yeah, dude, definitely. Chrono Trigger is like up there with the Final Fantasies. It just doesn't have that Final Fantasy name that's so mainstream, but Chrono Trigger is an awesome game. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but like, it's crazy towards the end. Link to the Past, Oblivion, Morrowind. Yeah, Morrowind was my first entry into the Elder Scrolls. I loved Morrowind, loved Oblivion. Oh, by the way, guys, I know some of you have been asking for a Discord link. If you look in the description... Oh, some of you have already joined. There we go. Let me know if that link works for you all. In the description, there's a link to the Discord. I was going to release it when I got 1,000 subscribers. But again, apologies for not uploading a video today. So Discord link and live stream. Final Fantasy VI is an awesome game as well. I just think I really love Final Fantasy. Too much. As a kid, I used to like dream of Final Fantasy. Like I'd see, you know, all those secret places you couldn't get to, like you couldn't land with your boat or your airship. And it was just like, oh, I would go to bed and I would dream about what was in those secret areas. Because this is like the days where the internet was like only just a thing. Oh, this would have been like early 2000s. So yeah, I would go to bed and dream like what could possibly be in those secret areas that I can't get to. Yeah, Final Fantasy 12, it gets a lot of flack for good, well, not for good reason. It gets a lot of flack. I really liked Final Fantasy 12, but again, it does have its issues with its main cast. I mean, if you ask me who the main characters of Final Fantasy 12 are, I will tell you it is Ash, Balthier, and Basch. It might be a controversial opinion, but Van and Penelo, or Van and Penelo, they had no real narrative plot at all. They had no reason to be on the adventure doing what they were doing. No, RPG Maker fan, you're not allowed to say 8 wasn't good. I actually really liked 8. No, that's alright. It's controversial, though. It's Final Fantasy VIII is not for everyone. It takes a lot... Like, you really have to look through and look into it. But yeah, Final Fantasy VIII... The thing about its story that I really liked is that it was about Squall finally accepting that he doesn't have to do everything on his own, and that even though everyone who'd hurt him in the past had left him or abandoned him, like, he's not alone. There are people that want to be with him and help him. And he's just put up this wall, this defensive wall of being cold to everyone. And just, like, it was such a heartbreaking story because ever since he was a kid, he's had no one. He was left in an orphanage. His sister left him at a young age. And like the entire time, he's just had no one really to hold him. So he's put up this wall. Farben Cut, you've been experimenting with RPG Maker MV3D and now you don't want to learn it anymore. Yeah, I can understand 3D is a whole new territory of game making. I studied video game design in university and 3D was a big pain in the ass. I just preferred the old 2D, going back to 2D. That's how fun you can break the game, playing and refining cards. Yeah, 100%. Like, if you want to break Final Fantasy VIII, the very first monsters you fight in the forest, like just draw a bunch of magic and equip them to your stats, and then you're done. Then when you get playing cards, just run around collecting playing cards, refining them into like high level magics, and the game's broken 100%. Like, yeah, no, I do wish they revealed a bit more history of the world, in that regards. Well, because it's Galbadia and Esther as well. Like, Esther's this super advanced civilization. Like, this super advanced civilization that lives on another continent, and it doesn't really go into details about the history of, like, wow, how did that city actually get so advanced? I know they were living under the reign of the sorcerer, but, you know, then there's a whole layer there. So they could have gone deeper with the lore of the world. I would have liked to learn a lot more. And I think Galbadia, in terms of lore for that, I just think it was the natural enemy to Esther. So you got this big country on, like, one side of the world that's highly advanced. Galbadia is only naturally going to rise. Alright, so I've got these two little characters here. Now I need to name them. So this one's F and M. In fact, we don't even need to give them genders, so let's just... Oh, I've already given them genders anyway, because she's circular, he's triangle, so... Yeah, the enemy's leveling up with the player. It's like, you can't grind. That's the one thing about Final Fantasy VIII, is you can't grind your way to victory. Because I remember, like, my sister's characters were all level 100. And I jumped into their game to try and beat Ultimercia. Never could. I could never do it. Even, like, with everyone at level 100. Alright, so I've got Sif and Teng. So that's sort of what their sprites would look like as they're running through the game. As they're running through the world. She has this sort of ball that she's rolling on. I want to have it so, like, one of the mechanics is, like, you can swap between the two. And you complete puzzles by swapping which character. Because each character is going to have their own strengths. But yeah, in terms of the game I'm playing at the moment, Trails of Cold Steel 4, I never expected that game to, like, really take me the way it did. I downloaded Trails of Cold Steel 1, like, a year or two ago, whenever it came out on Steam. And, like, I played it and then I downloaded number 2. I think I binged through those games in about a week and a half. Just non-stop. Wake up, play Trails, go to bed. Wake up, play Trails, go to bed. I've still got to play Trails in the Sky, though. I haven't played that one yet. Skies of Arcadia? I've never played that one. But yes, I will once again let everyone know that the Discord is open. Let me just have a look. Is everyone able, if does anyone who's in the Discord, do you just want to go over to the community general chat and just post a hello or under welcome? No, I don't think you can post in welcome. But in the community general chat, just post a hello and introduce yourself. Just so I know that all the permissions work. As I said, like it's a very entry level into Discord. I haven't actually worked out all the details yet. But it will be fun to catch up with you guys in the Discord. I know we've been talking about the what our favorite RPG games have been, but I want to ask, what's everyone's favorite story? Like, what's everyone's favorite RPG story that they love? Because as I was saying earlier, the story is a real big thing for me. I love games that have an amazing story. And without spoiling it, tell us why you love the story as well. Forgive my horrible artworks, by the way. I'm not the best at drawing. I can do like graphics design and I can design assets and stuff, but I can't... Not the best at drawing. Yeah, Final Fantasy IX does have an awesome story. The whole premise of, you know, finding a place where you belong, what your purpose is. It's such a heartbreaking game though, Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy VI, I loved Final Fantasy VI as well. Yeah, Final Fantasy IX's ending is real depressing. Without spoiling anything, but it's a really depressing ending. 10 out of 10, I cried. Yeah, there was like not a single Final Fantasy IX character that didn't have issues. That, which I think is good, and it's why it's such a good game, because a lot of people can relate to those characters, and through those characters' journey of through their own issues, a lot of people, I think, playing that game were able to overcome some of their own problems, which is why I think, yeah, it's an amazing game. Bro, Crisis Core, I cried so bad. Literally, Crisis Core, I knew what was going to happen, right? And again, not to spoil anything, I knew what was going to happen in Crisis Core, and I fought for the longest time And I'm like, maybe if I just keep fighting eternally, it won't happen. If I just continue fighting, it'll just. Yeah, Final Fantasy X. I'm just trying to think because I liked the game. There are things. There were things about the game I didn't like in terms of the character. Like, I think Tidus was... He became to be a strong character towards the end. But at the very start of the game, he was so whiny. So at the very, very start of the game, he didn't whine. He was like, yeah, I'm a cool guy. Cool guys are awesome. And then for like the next, 1/3 of the game, he just constantly whinged and whined. And there was also that famous scene. But the thing I loved about Final Fantasy X was Blitzball. I 100% loved playing. I spent hours playing Blitzball. I've found that as I've become older, like when I was younger, things didn't make me cry as much, but as I've become older, for some reason, my emotions are like, I don't care who sees me, this was beautiful. Oh, Otherworld, that is epic. I love... My mum used to get so angry at me because I would blare Otherworld, like, on repeat over and over again. God, I've designed this obscure character and now I've got no idea how to draw her. Final Fantasy 8 and 9 spin-offs. You know what I always wanted? I always wanted to see a Final Fantasy X prequel, like where you played as Braska and Jecht. Like, I always thought that would be cool. Yeah, JRPGs. It's why they're their own genre, is because they are like a lot different to Western RPGs. Because yeah, as you were saying, Elder Scrolls series gives you the sense of exploration and discovery, and I love it. Like you get to make your own story, but you know what it lacks there is that there's not this perfectly crafted story. Oh god, I've forgotten anatomy. I've forgotten how to do anatomy. Oh, Bright, that would be really cool, Skepsis D. That's actually a really cool idea. You play in the Machina War. Yeah. I'm probably the only person where, like, the more detail I draw in, the worse it looks. The less detail I draw in, the better it looks. I don't mind the lore of the Elder Scrolls universe, but you really have to dig to find it. Like, it's not just there. Like, you have to search. Like, yeah, no, as Pizza was saying, yeah, lore is just like the background stuff. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff. So, you know, you search through all of these, like, old explorers' documents and whatnot in between reading the Lusty Argonian Maid. God, I almost... No. I was going to give her, like, a halo or something, but that would be a bit too much. It looks like what a genie would look like in an RPG Maker game. Oh no, it sort of does. It sort of does look like she's sitting in a pot. But thank you, Dambro, and welcome to the chat. Dambro, we're talking about our favorite games. If you want to join in, do you have any favorite games? And also for anyone who's just joined the chat, I do have the Discord finally live, so Discord link is in the description on that one. Alright, so that's her. How do I add some more symbology to her? RPG Maker fan, you really want to make a game of your own. You've got so many ideas and stories. Every time you start making it, you just lose the mood and don't want to continue. Yeah, that's called burnout. You got to pace yourself. So like this idea, I'm hoping I finish because I think this is a really cool idea for a game. Like you've got Sif, which I've decided to call her. But you've got Sif over here and Teng, and they're both transported to a different world. They're different beings with different cultures, and they've got to work together to solve puzzles and try and find their way back home. So I hope I finish this because I think the idea is really cool. But one of the important things you've got to do is not overdo it. And there's other things which I'll make videos on this in the future, but things like having a game design document really helps as well. And having a fleshed out story, so you know the beginning, middle, and end. You don't have to write the beginning, middle, and end, but if you just know the vague idea of this happens in the beginning, middle, and end, that's all good as well. But games design is a very arduous process. So what advice I would give to you is start with something small. So just a 3 or 4 hour little adventure that someone can complete. You don't need to make like a big sprawling epic. You don't need to make the next Final Fantasy. I just say start with something small, a small self-contained story, and finish that. It might take you 6 months, half a year, but you get the idea. You get to go through that whole motion of starting and finishing a game. Pokemon Red and Blue. Those are going back to the days. God, I'm so cringy. I used to, when I was a kid, I'd be playing Pokemon. I had Pokemon Blue, and I'd be playing Pokemon Blue, and I'd walk around battling, I'd be battling all the trainers, and in my head, I was pretending it was an online game. And so I'd be pretending to talk to people, and all my friends from school were playing this online game with me. And it was really cringy, but like I was so lonely as a kid. Yeah, I'd pretend that it was just all online. And so I would just talk to myself for hours, pretending I was talking to like friends on this online Pokemon game. So when Pokemon Sapphire came out and you could have cubbies and stuff like that, oh, I've spent hours in Pokemon games. Yeah, no problem, RPG Maker fan. And just remember, don't overdo it. You need to give yourself a break as well. So in terms of overdoing it, yeah, this weekend, as I said, the reason I'm doing the stream is because I didn't upload a video. Because personally, I've been feeling a bit burnt out lately, just because I've got like a lot going on at work. And the amount of time it takes to record and edit like a good video, I don't want to like do a really crappy video and upload that. So yeah, I sat down for hours at the computer today just trying to figure out what video to write, and I just couldn't. And that's part of burnout. That's working yourself too much. So just remember to take some time for yourself and just relax, just rest. Alright, so I'm just going to move her out of the way. I think I've pretty much done a good portion of the design for her. So now I'll move on to Teng. Yeah, no, a lot of people do button press to get through the dialogue, and those are just those are people that RPG games are just not for. They're for. Some people might really like the combat systems. What did I choose? Very nice story or deep lore? Are you talking for this one that I'm developing now? Or, because I've forgotten what I said for 10 seconds ago. If we're talking about the one that I'm designing at the moment, I've gone for like a pleasant story. There's not going to be too much lore. This is probably going to be a short adventure. Probably like the entire game might take a few hours. But I just want to tell a story about two people. Oh, what do I choose about every game? I'd say story, just because you can have a really good game with story that's got really crappy lore, but you can have a really bad story and a lot of lore, but if the entire game is just walking around trying to figure out the lore in a crappy story, I'd say that's pretty, you know, game killing for me. God, how do I do a triangle on an angle? This is annoying me. And his head's too small. God, I cannot design this guy whatsoever. This game here, yeah, I'm going to create it in RPG Maker. I'm not going to require too many heavy systems, so... and even still, if I required some heavier systems, there's a lot you can do with RPG Maker. Alright, I think I've got the angle right now, guys. Yeah, no, that's a big one, Dan. And that's called feature creep. Is when you want to like just add a new thing and a new thing, and like you keep coming with like, you know, I think my game should have a crafting system, and it should have, you know, multiple endings, and you should be able to romance 50 different characters, and you should be able to craft like 18 different weapons, and while you're at it, you should be able to own a farm in the country, and the farm provides you passive income. On the note of passive income, I want my game to have a stock market system where you can buy and sell stocks, and what ends up happening is like we try and like make the coolest game ever with so many features. But like really, you just want to make your MVP, which is your minimum viable product. And when creating a game, you just got to figure out, you know, what is it that you want your game to do? Are you trying to make like an adventure? And if you're trying to make an adventure, what sort of feeling do you want your players to have? What adventure are you trying to make for your players? And really, once you've decided what sort of game you want to create, you shouldn't really be adding any features after that. Because once you've worked out all of the different things you want to do at the very start of game making, anything else is just something that you think is really cool, but might not actually serve a purpose other than being cool. Yeah, so Skepsis, you want the battles and exploration? Yeah, 100%. There are games that I've played where the story's been absolutely terrible, but they've used like an RNG system that is just like so weirdly innovative that those are the games where I'd skip past the text. And just because I think the way they've done the battle system's really cool, because it's like a game you're trying to fit. Well, it is a game, but like you're just trying to figure out like what equation you need, what moves you have to make to beat this boss. Like, oh, I need to equip this armor and use that skill. You try and do 20 skills for every character and run out of fantasy. Yeah, no, that's one of the problems with game making is there is a lot of stuff you need to do, and it's really hard for indie devs because when you look at a game like Final Fantasy, you need to realize those are games that are made by teams of hundreds of people. So when you're making games yourself, don't feel bad about, slower progress. Because again, you're one person. You're a one-man team. Yeah, exactly what Skepsis said. That's some awesome advice. Just focus on a couple. Essentially, focus on the ones that you need to make your game work and to make your game fun. Just focus on those ones. Focus on what's fun. Yeah, balancing. Look, to be honest, there's like a whole science behind balancing, but when it comes to just stats and numbers, with balancing, you got to just take the time. You got to take the time to test it, and then change the numbers, and then test it again, change the numbers, and test it again. And after you've done it, you need to get other people to test it as well, just because you know everything about your game. So there's a lot you're doing that other people might not do. So after you've balanced it, for yourself, you then need to get other people to test out your game. Just so you can balance it for them. They might think something's too hard or too easy based on the way you've balanced it. It's just a lot of time. Thank you, Cuddly Kawaii. Welcome to the chat. I have seen your email, by the way. I just haven't had a chance to respond to it yet. I've had a lot on my plate. I might have said so earlier, but work has been very busy lately. Liars will be banned. Yeah, no, I am just in the sketching stage, so I acknowledge it's not the best looking drawing anyone has ever seen. If my 3-year-old gave this to me, I would ground him. I don't have a 3-year-old, by the way. RPG Maker fan used to make a game where the character has to get into the first place in a battle arena. Want to try making that instead of making a game with a complex story. Yeah, I mean, look, you don't have to make a game with no story, but like make that the story. So you can make the combat arena, you can make that the entire game, right? You've got changing rooms, you've got a little shop where the winners can spend all their money, and maybe just a little side story that's happening at the same time. But yeah, focus all of that story into this whole gladiator pit thing. So all up, it might be like 10 days in story. And in those 10 days, there's just a fair amount of character development. There's battles, and that's how you proceed further in the game. But in between the battles, you've got the character development. And if you can limit yourself there, I think you could write a really cool story about that. You know, concept art does not have to look amazing. Again, like a lot of these faces over here, most of the time you're going to be seeing stuff like that. So I'm just trying to concept it out so I can understand these characters better in my own head as well. And half of concept art is, yeah, really just getting to understand your characters. You remember when Yanfly plugins were free? Yeah, no, those were the days. I'm surprised he had them free for so long, because Yanfly contributed so much to this community. And the fact that he kept releasing his plugins for free, I was just like, dude, how can you sustain this? Yeah, 100%. What Nathaniel Lake is saying, don't be afraid to take inspiration from places. Like, I think you'll find nearly every idea that can be concepted has already been concepted. A lot of music, a lot of film, it's all borrowed. Like, a lot of stuff has already been done. It's just, you can find a way to make it unique to the story that you want to tell. Yeah, Yanfly, I have no idea. So that was one of the things about Yanfly is, and it's because I've never talked to them personally. But yeah, Yanfly, I've never known if Yanfly was a guy or a girl, to be honest. But you don't need to, because they release really good plugins, and I guess that shows a level of, yeah, it doesn't matter what their gender is, they're a good contributing member to the community. Am I using a tablet to draw? Yes, I am. Just so the lines are a lot more fluid. And that's why, like, you can see pressure. So at the moment, I'm pressing very lightly. Now I'm pressing very heavily, and I can go from light to heavy to light. So it just helps with the art process. God, that's so bad. Look at him. He's... Give me a second. It's just like, what am I? Existence is pain. So I'm just reading Cuddly Quire's comment here about strange fact about his game. The inspiration came from a game that him and his brother, or her and her brother, this is why gender's confusing. Them and their brother used to play on the trampoline. Yeah, so her? Yeah, sorry about that, Cuddly. It's one of the things when you're online is you don't know anyone's gender, so it's really hard. I apologize if I mix anything up. But yeah, so her and her brother were playing a game on the trampoline, and she thought of how she could turn that into an RPG. So I think that's actually really cool and abstract. No, Cuddly, I don't want to make assumptions. People shouldn't be making assumptions. I think as I'm spending more time on YouTube, I probably should just start saying them and they a lot more, just because it's almost impossible to... God, pronouns are fun. And you also know what they say to assume. To assume makes an ass out of you and me. What else can I do to this guy? Maybe I can give him triangle feet. That'd be fun. So, I've got these concepts out. Now what should I do? Let's just write a short synopsis for the story at the same time. You started learning JavaScript for plugins. That is awesome. I've only messed around with JavaScript a bit. In university, I did a small amount of Java and what was the other language? C#. How much of it I remember is next to nothing. Oh yeah, and I did a bit of Game Maker language, which I believe is like a derivative of XML? No, it can't be XML. But yeah, so programming is definitely not my strong point. Yeah, no, definitely. Java and JavaScript are different. From occurs. Why did that just change? There we go. Where am I from? I am from the land down under. I'm from good old Australia, the place that doesn't exist according to some people. I'm from the land of kangaroos and chucking shrimp on Barbies, which, by the way, never ask an Australian if he wants to chuck a shrimp on the Barbie, because It's snags, all right? We chuck snags on the barbie, and snag is a slang term for sausage. So we hardly ever... We sometimes might put shrimps on the barbie, but if someone's having a barbecue, we're having sausages. Like, that's the main thing. You think you're the only one from Russia here? All right, let's see. What do we got? We've got 6 viewers at the moment. So if any of the other 6 viewers are from Russia, give a shout out to RPG Maker Fan. Where is everyone from, by the way? Cuddly Kwai is from Japan. I didn't even have to ask that. People started saying. That is awesome. So yeah, Cuddly is from Japan. Man from the rough world... Alright, so Sif, from the world of circles and softness, awakes to find herself stranded with Teng. A man from the rough world of sharpness and... Sharpness and something. I'm trying to find the right word. Sharpness and roughness. I don't know. That's a really weird blurb. Pizza is from the US of A. So is Danbro. Danbro's from California. California. So that would be... Let me just do my geography here. North, east, south, west. That would be the West Coast. Alright. I'm just trying to think if there's something else I can do. Maybe just another small bit of concept art. We'll do one more small bit of concept art for the night, and then I think that will be it. And it'll just be these guys by a campfire or something. So let's just see how that looks. There's not so much of a big Russian RPG Maker community. Russia has a lot of people. Maybe, you know what I think, RPG Maker Fan? I think there might actually be a big community of RPG makers in Russia, but there's no internet influencers or internet personalities. So maybe you could be the one. Maybe you could be the Russian voice and face for RPG Maker. Counter-Strike and Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Yeah, I've watched my fair share of Russian Counter-Strike games. One of the things I do... I shouldn't be saying this on stream, but I do like to put some money on esports on a Friday night. Like, I'll bet $10 on a Counter-Strike match, just because it's fun. I shouldn't be promoting... I'm not promoting gambling, but I do like to bet on esports. I think it's fun. This is your Bob Ross. Oh Lord, I don't think I can live up to the expectation of being a Bob Ross. See, when Bob Ross does like artwork, he'll be like, "We're going to do a happy little accident. So right here, we'll just happy little accident. We've got some water." We've got some nice greenery. And then just behind it, we've got a happy little accident of trees popping up. and his will look absolutely stunning. Now, mine just looks like a toothbrush that needs to be replaced. So, I wouldn't exactly call myself Bob Ross. Alright, so let's do a bit more. A small little campfire here. In fact, let's just create the scene before I do any of that. Let's make some happy little accidents. So I'm going to need something like this to create the scene. Yeah, you don't have to say you can only draw people and objects in manga. I wish I could draw, like, proper manga. I'm just not that good at it. I mean, actually, who wants to see my folio? Guys, say hashtag me if you want to see my art folio from university. Because I've actually got some of the stuff I did back in university, going back like 5 or 6 years now. So if you want to see that, just, yeah, give me a hashtag me. Now I'm warning you, it's not good. Let me just open up my Document Explorer and I'll get it up for you. Oh, when I said... I meant like a hashtag as in me. Am I streaming at night? Yeah, it's currently 1 a.m. 1:30 in the morning. And the reason I've waited this long to stream to you guys is because none of you guys are awake during my day. So what I could do is I could wake up early in the morning and stream to you guys. Or I can just wait till late at night. Let me... Guys... That's not what I meant. Alright, let me just get it up. Oh lord. Alright, let's go through my folio. Oh no, it's opening up Photoshop. Never mind that. Alright, so this is one of my first 3D pieces of work from way back when. No, these don't happen very often. I might start doing them more regularly. But I'm doing this because I forgot to upload... Well, I didn't forget to upload a video today. I just didn't upload a video today. And I'm sorry, but I did launch the Discord channel. So let me just... Again, guys, Discord channel right here. But for now, let's go through my folio. So I've got some 3D work in here. This is a book. This is a friend from university. I put his face on a book in 3D. This is something I did with a bit of water paint. I think I did this in like year 12. I didn't draw a 3D image in Photoshop. So those 3D images, this is Autodesk Maya. What else have I got? Can I open these in like a photo viewer instead of... Give me... How do I open this as a photo viewer? That's not working. Someone help. Someone help me. Open with. There we go. Open with photo gallery. All right, there we go. So yeah, that was just a little log cutting thing I did in Maya as well. This is like a small sort of level, like a boiler room looking thing. I also do some design work as well, so I'll skip past that real quickly. I would like to show it to you, but it did show some details on it that people are just going to go back in the stream and see anyway. But it had some location details. This is a cool little concept I did. I was just trying to... This was my first messing around with lighting. You did a bachelor as well, Skepsis? So did I. I never finished it. I nearly finished it. I had 2 subjects to do, but I had circumstances in my life where I needed to leave university. Why do I have this in my folio? Alright, this is a UV unwrap I did for a texture. That is probably one of my first self-portraits. That is not one of my best ones. I've done better. This is a character design I did for a for one of my final tasks at university. Oh, this one I think's pretty cool. This is like a grate that I did in not in Photoshop, but I textured this sort of like lift up grate where the player would have to lift it up and go down a ladder or something. I do miss 3D modeling, but it was a lot of work. This was a portrait I did of Jennifer Lawrence. So there's that. Actually, I'm going to have to just quickly make sure there's no non-safe for work stuff here. Alright, good. Sorry about that. I just realized that might be the case. This is Cletus McGee. It's actually quite a racist piece, so I will skip past that. This was one of my first... Not one of my first, but a character that I drew. This leg. She's got a stunt leg. But... Alright, thanks for tuning in, Cuddly. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I will get back to your email at some point. But yeah, have fun. Yeah, this is where I first did some shading. So I was just trying my luck out with shading. This is a portrait of one of my mates. He told me to put a top hat on him. So... a top hat and a monocle. One of my friends from university. This is Belinda Hart. This was one of my completed character designs for one of my university assessments. This was also another bit of concept art for one of my university assessments. How much is there? There's a fair amount more. And then there's some graphics design stuff as well. That was a weird bit of pixel art. But yeah, so that was my folio. A lot of those are really old though. I've done some more stuff recently, but I've just not updated them. So I should probably update some point. All right, let's get back to the concept art. So all of you, you've got some nerve damage. Yeah, man, that sucks. But yeah, no, Blender lets you make 3D models so much easier. Can be rendered out in 2D. That's awesome. In fact, you know what? That would probably be like a cool concept where instead of things being designed in 2D and then made 3D, like if you could do that, make some really cool things in 3D and render them out 2D. I think that could be really cool. Like a unique concept as well. I was going to say something before and then I forgot. I was going to say something. Yeah, so everyone here is obviously using RPG Maker for something. So what is your favorite part about game design? What do you guys love the most? Because you're not using it, again, for the sake of using it. There's obviously... What's your favorite part about game design? What gets you going in the morning is what I'm trying to ask. God, I'm really bad at conversation. What do you mean? Oh. What do you mean couldn't select area because area is empty? Oh, is that on this layer? It is. Yeah, and that's the thing is, as I'm concepting this out, I'm coming up with ideas for puzzles. So as I said, these guys are stuck in this world, and they're trying to get back home. And as I'm concepting this out, I've created this little monument. I think it'd be really cool if, you know, she had defined the circle, and he had defined the triangle. And once the circle and triangle are reunited, it opens up a gate back to their own world. Alright, so I've got a few answers here. Story, character, world building. I love world building. I always fall into world builders. So actually, some of you might have noticed I do have another tab open on my Photoshop. I love world building. Like, where is it? Let's organize. I've got horrible layer organization, sorry. But yeah, so like this is just one of the world maps I've designed out of like the many. Where are the borders? Here they are. Yeah, so like I think like I wrote a D&D campaign just set in this area over here at one point to run my friends through. So I love world building. World building's my favorite. But the thing is, if you try and build a game around world building, trying to build a game, it's just... You end up just spending too much time focusing on world building than you do actually building the game. Yeah, Dan, bro, making really well thought out characters and facing difficult decisions. That's part of one of the dream games that I want to make one day is... how many of you remember Final Fantasy 15, but before it was changed? Like, you had Noctis and you had Stella, and there was a scene where they had to fight each other. And I just thought that concept was so cool. You had these two characters that were absolutely in love with each other, but they had to fight against each other. And so, like, we never got that in Final Fantasy 15, right? They changed that completely. So that would be my dream game that I want to make, is just that situation where two, you know, star-crossed lovers have to fight each other. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Good start. And that's why it's good to concept. Like, just draw things out with art. Just drawing it out really helps you figure out the characters, who they are, what they need to do. And while you're drawing, you come up with cool designs, like that little monument over here. This is what these characters need to do. They need to solve this task. And there we go. Let's just add in a small amount of story here as well. Any advice for getting into art and drawing? You've always wanted to get better at it? Yeah, look, I said some stuff about it earlier on, but practice makes perfect, right? 100% just practice every day. So there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube and plenty of online lessons you can take. If you want to get better at art, what I would say is set aside some time every day, every single day, because I'm not the best at drawing. But what I'd say, yeah, every day set aside 10 minutes, 20 minutes, watch a tutorial and follow along. And every single day, you're going to get into the habit. But if you do that every single day, I call it meaningful actions. So one of my mentors once told me that if you want to work on a game or anything like that, go home and do something for 10 or 20 minutes on your game. And you've taken one meaningful action. So for you, I'd say do some art practice. You've taken one meaningful action. And then if you do that for a week, you've taken 5 meaningful actions that week, 7 meaningful actions. If you do that every day for a year, you've taken 365 meaningful, purposeful actions towards getting better at art. That is the advice I'd say for getting into art and drawing. Just firstly start and practice and keep going and keep going. I know it's so cliched and it's like practice makes perfect, blah, blah, blah. But 100%, you just need to start and you need to keep going. And you might feel unmotivated to continue. Sometimes you might be down in a rut and you don't want to do it, but just do it anyway. Just keep going. That's all I can say is just keep going. Is probably the best advice I would have for that. Ellen Davidson, it can sound strange, but I love to make the database, thinking about how items, skills, and all that stuff would be useful to the storytelling as a whole. It does not sound strange. It is a very important job, and a lot of people, it's called systems, and it's systems management. And it's really important for games design. And yeah, it can be really fun to manage that sort of stuff. I think though, guys, if you have any other questions, let me know, because I'm probably going to wrap up this stream pretty soon. My little doggy Scotch probably needs to go to the toilet, don't you, buddy? Yeah. So if you have any questions, just ask them, and I'll try and get to them. But yeah, I'll probably end the stream really soon. Hello, Traff. Hello. You have joined us at the end of the stream, so feel free. The Discord, by the way, guys. I've finally launched the Discord. It is still in its very early stages, but there's already some members there. So if anyone who hasn't, feel free to jump onto the Discord. The link is in the description. How active will I be on the Discord server? I'm going to try and make sure I'm at least... I'll be looking at it every day, 100%. But with work at the moment, it takes me about an hour and a half to get to work, an hour and a half to get home, and work's really busy. I've been doing about 9-10 hour days lately, so I'm going to be on there every day. It's the same with comments and emails. So I see that every day. I read them all the time. And I get back to them when I can. So hopefully I can be on there maybe actively a couple of times a week. I can maybe spend an hour. But I've got a very busy schedule, so... but I'll jump on there. There'll be a lot more. I've also got the first scoreboard. That scoreboard for people who are going to be the first one to comment. So I've actually got that here somewhere. Let me load that up for you all. So this is the current scoreboard at the moment. We have Cuddly Kwai in third place and Kelly Gath. They're more like equal second. And then Nobihaza Game Lover 365. They are currently in the leads for commenting first. All right. Thank you, Traff. Yeah, as I said, this stream's about to end. So, Traff, if you wanted to just wait till it uploads, you can watch the whole thing after that. All right, guys. Oh, yeah, the scoreboard, RPG Maker fan. It's... whenever I post a video, a lot of people have been the first one to comment. And they're saying first. So I've kept a scoreboard of points. When someone says first as the first comment, they get a point. So it's just this fun little scoreboard that I'm keeping. But other than that, guys, thank you for tuning into the stream. Once again, I'm really sorry that I didn't record and upload a video today. I usually try and make sure to do that, but I was so unmotivated. I was so lethargic today and I just couldn't get around to it. But thank you all for the support. I'll try and get a video out this week sometime, but it is very busy. So I will see you guys in the Discord server as well as next time I upload a video. And in the next live stream, which I have no idea when that will be. But thank you all. I hope you're all staying incredibly safe. And goodbye. Oh, drink some water, by the way. Everyone drink some water. That's an order. You drink some water. Alright, guys. Till next time. Bye.